This is Tony C Productions. Welcome back to our playthrough of The Testament of Sherlock Holmes. So now I'm going to resume back to where we left off, which is where we enter this room.
An ink stain, quite fresh. This stain is just on the edge of the rug. Let's see. There is nothing on the floor, yet the ink must have soaked through the rug. An ink stain. This inkwell was tipped over recently. The ink stain on the floor comes from the ink on the rug, but they are not in the same place. Someone has moved the rug recently. That is curious. There is something strange on the floor. Certain stones have been marked out, just like a chessboard. Apparently, someone wanted to hide this statue. This horse resembles a large chess piece. There is a message underneath this statue. Let's see.
What a lack of imagination. Use your passion for chess. The last square on which the knight will place himself after having covered all the others will be the right one. I love you.
This message was written by a woman, but for whom was it intended? Interesting, this chess game.
I mean, how can you could tell it's a woman that wrote that? I do not know. I mean, you could probably tell by handwriting, maybe. I don't know.
Is curious. There is something strange on the floor. Certain stones have been marked out.
I think you could tell
like
if it is a woman
I need
that wrote
something.
it based on the handwriting.
That is
I guess it just depends on
something strange. I need
the the cursive or cursive writing, whatever. Probably a little bit more delicate than men's cursive writing anyway. Alright, so for this one, it might be hard for some, but I figured out a pattern on like how to cover all these chess pieces. So I think it's either that one or this one where you have to have the last piece on, but anyway, so pattern is so you're on a black square. Oh, and there's replay. I never noticed that. Oh yeah, replay is basically like resetting the thing. 6 cents. I don't know why it's 6 cents, but we're gonna do it without 6 cents. So the pattern is you go white, black, white, black, and you just repeat this process over and over again. Clear up the squares. Okay. So you just go from left down and then to the right and then up, and just keep doing that process again, doing black and white and black and white. So, it's this one. It's black. I thought it was white. Black, white, and then black. And that's
This
the
last
last
piece should be the good one. It will have to be pulled free. I need something.
Oh shit. Yeah, you need your pocket knife for that. Oh no, it's not. Is it our pocket? Yeah, it's our pocket knife. I forgot if it was our knife or the knife that was used to torture the bishop. Alright, so we got some letters here from the or is it the Archduke guy? The guy with the flat hat or whatever. The Reverend. Yeah, right there. The Reverend. Okay, 24th April. My love, what a beautiful spring. What a marvelous day. Our dear youngest child's birthday. Every moment is so precious as our child blossoms, and without a doubt, we will soon be talking. I am sure that his first words will be for you. He misses you so much, as do I. Are you sure you cannot get away on Sunday after Vespers? I thought that what? Okay, continue. 14th September. My darling, I know that you think I am insistent, but we absolutely must legitimize our union. We cannot live in sin all our lives. 3rd of March. Rest assured, my dear, that I understand your position is not easy, but have you thought about ours, the children's, and mine? I cannot allow our children's future to be compromised. Think about it, my love. What is a so-called scandal next to the well-being of your family? You must become husband and wife legally to finally form a real family.
A packet of letters addressed to the Reverend. They were written by a woman who mentions his illegitimate children. Their affair isn't official. Perfect. I have you now, my wayward Reverend. Ah, Watson, you were gone a terribly long time, and Inspector Baines isn't with you.
I'm afraid not, Holmes. We were unable to find him.
Dr. Watson would not allow me to contact any inspector other than this Baines. What manners! I am a man of the church.
My dear Reverend, I notice that you are a chess lover. I trust you will excuse me, but I am never able to resist the appeal of a half-finished game.
You are an expert at chess. Very well, then. What do you want now?
As you might have guessed, resolving your small chess problem has allowed me to discover some very interesting letters.
Letters? What do they say?
Reverend, why hide these letters here and run the risk of the bishop finding them?
Holmes, what's in the letters?
Not now, Watson.
Where else could I have hidden them? My own chambers are too austere. They could offer no cover. I knew, however, that His Excellency, may he rest in peace, would not notice my game.
The contents of the Bishop of Knightsbridge's chest interest me greatly. Give me the elements you hold, Reverend.
Out of the question.
Alright, so get an achievement, yet the Blackmailer achievement, you have to select something that relates to blackmail. So for this one, I'm gonna go with blackmail.
I am a gentleman, and it would distress me to be obliged to pass this correspondence across to your superiors.
Holmes, I know that the end justifies the means, but allow me to express some reservations about how you are proceeding.
You say you're a gentleman, but I hear nothing but the words of a blackmailer. The stems that you are looking for are scattered about this room. Manage by yourself.
Okay. I'll just go first person for this one now. Oop. Alright, so we have to find nails around the room. And relate to the you used to put in and open the chest. There's one around here. Excuse me, Reverend. That was on here.
You have won.
Evidently, as I always do. What are you able to tell us about the Bishop of Knightsbridge's last days? Did anyone come to visit him? Did he seem worried, anxious? Do not omit the smallest detail.
His nephew came to see him yesterday at His Excellency's request. I found this visit a little peculiar because the young man rarely visits his uncle.
Do you know why that might be? Were they on bad terms?
I don't think so. It's rather a consequence of his work. The young man is employed within the archive section of the Royal Library, which doesn't leave him with a lot of free time.
Do you know the reason for his summons?
No, but the conversation was very heated. It only lasted for a few minutes and ended with the nephew in a terrible rage.
Interesting.
I've answered your questions. Will you now let me contact the authorities?
I'm afraid not, Reverend. Not just yet. All right, now we can open the safe.
I need to add more to this. Oh yeah. On himself, flask. Flask some blood in its top. Oh yeah, the main drink could. We'll get into that later. Just not for right now. Yeah, I'll just stick with the third person. It's not the best, but it's not annoying. Okay, so for this one, you can have any of the buttons align against one another. Like for example, you can have it diagonal or else a reset, or do that. Or you know, this, it has to be completely separate like this in order to. So it can't be in the same alignment with each other. It's a little bit of a hard thing to solve, but it's not too difficult. Which unfortunately I'm having a little bit of difficulty right now. Oh shit. Okay. Oh shit. Oh, maybe I could do it same way as the. I think you could also do the same way as the night chessboard thing. So black, white. Okay, obviously can't do it there. Do black, white. Nope, not that. White. God damn, this is hard. No, that's there. That's there. Yeah, see, you can't do it like that because. Just do something like this. Okay, last one. Damn it. Yeah, something like that. Nope. Alright, Jesus Christ. I had this trouble before. Air, and then it's like you have to check every detail.
Now I can
Right
open
here,
the
there we go,
chest.
yeah. Alright, yeah. So you solve the puzzle. It's a little hard, but it's not too bad.
Here we are. I am eager to discover what remarkable treasure could justify such an act of barbarity.
Extraordinary.
This chest is impenetrable. How is it possible? No one other than the bishop should be able to open it.
You do know
Open the
that
chest
solving
with disconcerting
problem
ease,
solving
Holmes.
is a thing,
I've seen
right?
and heard quite enough. This time you won't stop me.
Catch him, Watson.
What the?
But why?
Run, Watson. Hurry.
He's escaped. I hope that your motivations are founded, Holmes. I don't much like skirting around the edges of the law like this.
It is annoying. Let's leave without delay.
What have you found in the chest, Holmes? What in there is so precious for these men to commit such terrible acts?
The Reverend was telling the truth. Nothing important was locked inside the chest, apart from a few religious items which are hardly worth stealing.
So, we haven't made any headway. Perhaps the police will.
By the time the police arrive, we shall be a long way from here, Watson. We are leaving.
Yeah, so it had some dialogue. It's like similar to the log. It's sort of like a log of the dialogue discussed. It's similar to the dialogue log that you can look through in LA Noir. It's especially helpful for when you do interviews, so you look back in the log and you check what they said or something in case you forgot or something like that, or you check dialogue to see if they're telling the truth or express doubt. It's not any like for LA Noir, so like getting correctly answering the interview. It's not really. I mean, for the most part, it's not like you have to judge a person's facial expression and tell if they're lying or not. It's mostly like either the tone of their voice or like with the game explains, like if they're lying, you have evidence, you can use that because sometimes it can contradict themselves, or there's something you don't know and you use doubt to like pry out of them, or they're not saying what they're supposed to say, or they're withholding information and all that. So yeah. All right, let's get back to Baker Street.
We have crossed London at a breakneck speed. We could have knocked someone over, and naturally I had to pay the cabby out of my own pocket.
Watson, stop complaining. We have to analyze the clues found at the bishop's house.
Alright, so now we go to the his chemistry lab. Why does he have a drawing of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse? Very foreboding.
I can analyze the chemical composition of a substance here. Black and damp earth under the nail. Interesting. Tooth marks, rather deep ones. I'd say of incisors and a canine. I can see something. Fragments of skin, a phalanx. This finger wasn't cut off, it was ripped off. I can see something.
Bite marks on this severed finger. I am afraid of the significance.
The thieves didn't get what they wanted. When they were faced with the bishop's refusal to cooperate, one of the gang shook his finger at him to indicate that he was responsible for his unfortunate state.
And the poor man, whose head was the only part of him not bound by ropes, bit the finger violently enough to sever it. An uncommonly savage act.
Watson, I am certain that when we have explained the reasons behind this sudden bestiality, we will have revealed a larger part of the mystery. There is something written on this scalpel. I should clean it. Ah, I can make out WCCH. What do the initials stand for? How many hospitals are there in the Whitechapel area, Watson?
If we count public dispensaries, enough to keep us busy for an entire month. Did this scalpel come from a hospital?
Yes, as the initials WCCH engraved upon it show us. We must think on how best to deal with this. We do not have the time to investigate every hospital in Whitechapel. I have cut a small piece off the rope. That should be enough. A lot of fragments of black stone are wedged into this rope. Their color seems unnatural, but they are too small for me to examine them. Black and damp earth. This rope is only worn on one side. I must compare the samples of earth that I found. This fragment of stone is very smooth, and it seems to be of a peculiar quality. I shall have to strip it with one of my products. This stone appears to be the same as those found within the rope's fibers. This stone is granite, covered in black paint. The fragments found in the rope and this piece of granite come from the same place. I must compare the samples of earth that I found. And if I mixed this earth with another substance, now it must all be stirred. I can't do that. The samples of earth taken from beneath the fingernail and from the ropes originate from the same place.
How do you know?
It took just a little water to analyze the consistency. The soil has retained its moisture, even though there hasn't been rain in London for over a week.
This soil could come from the bank of a river, or somewhere where the evaporation is slower. A mine, perhaps, or a trench.
The banks of the Thames are clay soil, unlike our samples, so we can rule that out. The nearest mines are 12 miles away, so I would rule that out also. I would therefore conclude your last theory to be nearer the mark.
A trench?
A pit. Watson, bring me your register of the London hospitals.
Studying the scalpel has given you an idea, then?
Indeed.
I'll get it. Female anatomy.
Nope, I already looked at them. This one, right here.
Hospitals and dispensaries in London. I have found my book, Holmes.
Good. Put it on the work table, will you?
Okay. Oh, it's a newspaper. Marquis' fake necklace. At the moment of the writing these lines, a famous Samoan necklace belonging to the Marquis of the Conyngham has still not been recovered. Our editorial staff remain reserved as to the role that the famous detective Sherlock Holmes has played in the affair. For this is not the first time that Mr. Holmes has comprised himself during the course of one of his so-called investigations. When recalling the second Sting case, the affair is indeed strangely similar to the Marquis of the Coningham's necklace misfortune. Indeed, Mr. Trelawney Hope, Secretary of State for European Affairs, had a document of extreme value in his safe box, which had been stolen by a few days earlier. Then, as Sherlock Holmes knew the identity of the person blackmailing the gentleman's wife, Lady Hilda Trelawney Hope, guilty of a love affair with another man. The sinister blackmailer, a certain Lucas, had a letter that revealed Lady Trelawney Hope's double life. He wanted the Secretary of State's wife to give him the precious document belonging to her husband. In exchange for the love letter, she obeyed him. But then Lucas was found murdered, and Mr. Holmes managed to find the compromising letter without any difficulty on the crime scene after having been meticulously searched by the police. Does that not strike you as strange? Mr. Holmes knew where the hiding place was without any doubt as to the motive for the murder. No need to ask who might profit from the crime, eradicate a cumbersome accomplice, and thus appear as a hero in the eyes of the authority. Really. Evidently, the transcription of the affair undertaken by Mr. Holmes' friend Dr. Watson gives another explanation entirely. But is he truly objective? We only ourselves a little doubt on the score. Will Farley.
Read the paper, Holmes.
Yeah, he doesn't need to read the paper because they're all garbage. Alright.
Here is the section showing Whitechapel. I made several notations on these pages during our investigation into the Ripper, which might prove useful. All we need to do is to find a hospital or a public dispensary near a location where pits have been dug and black granite has been used.
It's simplicity itself. I haven't finished my analysis.
Alright, so
I
now
need something.
Oh, this one. That's where the bottle was used. Okay, to analyze the evidence, alloy quick from the test tube. Use all the okay. Alright, so now we just use that. Guess we pour it on here. So just rotate. Pull this little plug here, and we just count how many of these things are for each of these colored tubes. What chemicals they are, I do not know. Oh, muscular stimulant, that's what it's called. Oh shit. Okay. At least I gave you at least two tries. Okay. 2 greens, 1 brown, and 1 blue. And it'll mark green, so in case, so you can have it correct. So this one's fatality, aggressiveness, generation of skin tissue. Oh no, this is a muscular stimulant. So what the hell are these chemicals? Oh, I guess we'll never know. Alright, onto the one. 3 browns and 2 silvers. 3 browns, 2 silvers. Okay, next one. And these like add up here. 3 silvers and 2 browns. Yeah, so with the numbers they add up for down here of how severe this the chemical from the bottle is. Okay. 2 greens and 1 blue. Alright, 1 more. 3 greens and 3 browns. There we go.
Poison, and apparently very virulent.
Virulent. That's a word I never heard before. I guess it's very ecstatic or something like that. No, well, not ecstatic, but probably like causes probably like mental problems or something like that, drinking it. Results of the analysis of the poison administered to the Bishop of Knightsbridge. Substance that provokes a heightened aggression close to madness, death by cardiac arrest.
Poison. Discreet, efficient, and only detectable via a thorough post-mortem.
Have you been able to isolate the active components, Holmes?
Not with any certainty. This toxic substance surpasses my own knowledge in the field. It is without doubt the work of an expert chemist.
A chemist and a criminal.
As you say, please find my monograph on poisoners of the last 30 years.
You see, this problem was like the walking, at least for third person, is that the character turns or something, and it can be a little annoying. Oh, right here. Yoink. Hans Schielmann, aka Rat Killer. Nationality German. In Stuttgart. Arrested 1880 in London. Sentenced to life imprisonment. Jesus. Found guilty of the following charges: poisoning, attempted poisoning, theft and receiving chemical substances, murder, attempted murder, kidnapping with aggravated circumstances, cruelty to animals, hit and run, illegal use of chemicals, manipulation of the weak, drunken charge. History and description of the individual. Despite numerous mental problems and neurosis, Hans Schielmann is an exceptional chemist and equally remarkable mathematician. At the age of 21, his unstable and violent character resulted in his expulsion from the University of Vienna, where he had excelled in his chosen subjects. After being expelled, he was not heard of again for 4 years. He was captured and arrested in June 1864 during the case number X2552A, the Stuttgart poisoning, in which he was the principal suspect. He escaped before being sentenced and vanished again. A number of elements suggested he had found refuge in London. An investigation undertaken by Scotland Yard found him living under the stolen identity of one Leonardo Intizia. However, the officers who came to arrest him were poisoned, and he escaped once again. Jesus Christ. Our informers picked up his trail again in 1880 at an ancient factory converted into a clandestine chemical laboratory. Schielmann was absent during the search. From the documents found inside the laboratory, we learned he had a diabolical plan in mind. His goal was to poison drinking water reservoirs in several parts of the city. To this day, his motives remain unclear. His arrest on May 5th, 1885, was due entirely to chance. He was recognized by a police officer while stumbling around in a state of inebriation, shouting of his intention to poison the entire city. None of the interrogations following his arrest have provided any conclusive information. Hans Schielmann broke his silence only with coherent comments.
Known as the Rat Killer, was considered the greatest specialist in chemical poison in the world.
Is he at liberty?
Happily, no. He has been held in the high-security wing of London's Westgate prison for many years now.
Then he cannot be the one who concocted the poison.
Don't dismiss him too quickly, Watson. According to Scotland Yard, the man is exceptionally intelligent. For the greatest criminals, prison is but a mere obstacle. Let's plan a little visit to see Mr. Schielmann tomorrow. I haven't finished my analysis.
Alrighty, so finger torn off. False aggressive savagely. Flask contains a poison case causes madness. Drink content flask. Murderers had a poison that causes madness. Bishop went mad. There we go.
Perfect. Well done, Watson. Our board is finished. It confirms that the bishop's murderers work for one person, who, amongst other things, possesses a very sophisticated poison. They therefore act for someone more educated than themselves.
Alright, now we can do another deduction board. This one's a little bit harder than the other because sometimes it's hard to get the right answers. So rope is worn only on one side. Who's near water? It's rotting. They're both rotting, but yeah, soils from the pit. Used for something in the pit. So we're looking for something that resembles like a cemetery, because it's or at least it's like next door. The hospital is next. It's just across the street from the cemetery. And guess from a monument painted black. I don't remember. Monument. Some great or tombstone. Whitechapel Clinic is here. A grave. It's gonna take me a while. Okay, hold on a sec. Oh. Well, it's the same side.
Now I can
There
make the
we
right
go.
decision.
I get the war on the same side, but I wasn't sure the actual thing. So now we'll just look through, and it should be this one.
The public dispensary number 4661. It's just opposite the Whitechapel Street Cemetery.
Yes, Watson. The murderer with the missing finger must work in the cemetery, or at least visit it. He could have taken a rope, one of the type they use to lower the coffins into the graves. The granite is minute particles of tombstone.
And he only had to cross the road to steal a scalpel from the dispensary opposite.
You remember Wiggins and his gang, the Baker Street irregulars?
Yes, the street urchins, whom you employ upon occasion, and Wiggins is their leader.
Yes. Well, I have hired their services again. I have instructed them to find out the address of the bishop's nephew.
I think he's here.
Hello, Mr. Holmes.
Wiggins, my young friend, have you found the information for which the good Dr. Watson is going to pay you?
Yes, Mr. Holmes, it was easy.
Very well, I understand. Here are a few pennies.
Thanks, Dr. Watson. The man you're looking for lives near Kensington.
Does he live alone?
Yes, but he rents a room for an old lady.
Did she see you?
No, Mr. Holmes. No one saw me.
Perfect. Watson, give our young friend another shilling as a reward for his discretion.
Here we go again. But of course...
You pay him, Sherlock. You don't want to...
Falling asleep, Holmes. Aren't you tired?
No, I have an exceptional constitution. I can't remember ever having been fatigued by work. Idleness, on the other hand, exhausts me completely. Go to bed, Watson. The night will be short. We leave at dawn.
Wow, this is a real adventure. It's exciting. I like it better than made-up stories. I want to know what happens next. Keep reading. I'm going to.
Ah, I want to listen to.
My readers must excuse me if I do not describe in full detail here the terrible images which haunted me that night.
I had a sense that something extraordinary would take place, but I was scarcely prepared for the reality of it. Good morning, Holmes. Did you get any rest?
I did not attempt to sleep.
Have you managed to come to any conclusions?
I think that we might follow 3 trails. We can visit Whitechapel to try to discover the identity of the murderers by making inquiries at Dispensary 4661 and at the Whitechapel Street Cemetery.
The poison trail seems more important to me. We should perhaps go to Westgate Prison first to see Hans Schielman.
Yes, and let us not forget the bishop's irascible nephew, whose address we now have, thanks to my Baker Street irregulars. I have located each place on our map of London.
Holmes, let me remind you that we still have not been officially instructed to investigate this affair.
Ah, well, we will just have to hide that small detail.
Oh, it's another newspaper. Didn't see that on my first playthrough. Or not first playthrough when I first played the game, but like replaying the game anyway. Globe Explorer. Sherlock Holmes the Forager. Following the results of our investigations into Mr. Sherlock Holmes, it appeared that this sinister character once double-crossed the police in the engineer's thumb case. Okay. I was wondering if that was in the previous games, or I think it is. D was seen, or something like in between the Jack the Ripper and this game. But I'm not sure. D was seen that several of the criminals who took part in the story of forged money have reappeared and have been in contact with the famous detective. At the present time, our sources are attempting to uncover more detail, but it is clear. If Sherlock Holmes has found these criminals, why has he not informed the police? Holmes' complicity in this case leaves no shadow of a doubt, but as a measure of fairness and a lack of tangible evidence, we prefer to continue our quote-unquote investigations.
Nothing interesting.
Yeah. Alright, let's set out. So first, I'm gonna go to Westgate Jail.
Westgate Prison. Here we are at the famous Westgate Prison, one of the oldest and surest in the kingdom.
I've heard that it is soon going to be demolished. Don't you find it strange that it still houses criminals as dangerous as Hans Schielman?
There's nothing strange about it, Watson. The name of this prison is linked with numerous failed escape attempts. As long as it stands, the criminals will fear it.
Good morning, gentlemen. Are you expected?
No, but we wish to meet with one of your prisoners, Hans Schielman.
I'm afraid that at the moment that is impossible. Access to the cells is controlled strictly. You can't go there without permission from the director.
Then would you be so good as to announce us? I am Sherlock Holmes, and this is Dr. Watson.
The famous Holmes and Watson. What an honour. My name is Brighton. Frank Brighton. I'm afraid I can't announce you. I'm not allowed to leave my post, under any circumstances. But I'm sure that the director won't refuse to see you, even without an appointment. Do you see the corridor behind the reception? Follow it to the secretary's office. You'll find him there.
Thank you, Warden Brighton. One last thing. Hans Schielman received any visits lately?
None. And I'm sure because I've dealt with receiving visitors for several weeks now. I volunteered because it's a calm post to be in. We don't get many visitors and it gives me time to write. Just like you, Dr. Watson. I enjoy literature and the...
Very good. Thank you.
That was very impolite, Holmes. That man admires our work. You could have given him...
Another time. Let's go and meet the director of the prison.
That shit. Alright, let's do a save here. Ooh. Exit these out. Over this one. Yep. Alright, I'm just gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back. And we're back with more Testament of Sherlock Holmes. I really do not like the background music track for this level. Beware the Fly. Yeah, it's just too tentative music to have in this place. You know? It's something you hear from like an action scene or something, but not like the main level. It's just bad in general. Alright, so we can't go in here yet, so we'll have to visit the director's office in here.
Closed. Cleaning materials, otherwise known as a broom cupboard. Nothing of interest here.
So, just not waste any time, just head over there.
Let us go to the secretary's office. Good morning, miss.
Oh, excuse me, I dropped off. Good morning, gentlemen. What can I do for you?
I am Sherlock Holmes, and this is Dr. Watson. We would like to talk to the director.
I'll just go and see if he can receive you.
Tiredness, pale face, stiffness. I believe that the young lady is expecting a happy event.
It would seem so.
This charming secretary is Miss Jenny Patterson.
This small rack is for urgent letters to be given immediately to the director.
Hot tea.
Hot tea. I guess that's all I can say about that. Hot tea.
The director's office, Mr. P. Patterson. No need to go in there. Strange. The director and the secretary have the same name.
I'm delighted to meet you, Mr. Holmes. I am Paul Patterson, director of this establishment. You wish to talk to me? I hope this unexpected visit isn't to announce bad news.
No, do not worry. We are investigating an affair of the highest importance, one which could potentially affect the security of the kingdom. Therefore, it is imperative that we interview one of your prisoners, Hans Schielmann.
Hans, the rat killer? He's been in here for a long while now, and he's had no contact with the outside. How could he be involved in such an affair?
That is what we would like to find out.
And you have been commissioned by Scotland Yard?
Evidently.
Very well. I have complete confidence in you, Mr. Holmes. I will draw up a pass that you should give to Warden James in the guardroom. He will show you to the cells.
Thank you, Director.
Keep me informed of your progress. And if there is anything else, don't hesitate to let me know.
We shall certainly do so.
Miss Patterson, you have the same name as the director. Are you related?
Come, Watson. Anyone who might have made the slightest study of anthropology would have noted the similarities between the young lady and her father.
Mr. Holmes is right, I am his daughter, but he doesn't like to talk about it. I think he's afraid of being accused of favoritism.
I'm sure it was your qualities alone which secured you this position, miss.
If you must try out your powers of seduction, then what do you say about using them on the rat killer? Goodbye, miss.
Goodbye, gentlemen. Anything else, gentlemen?
Now we have to select the pass here, and then we should be able to go in. I wonder if we can go in here.
Closed.
Nope. Okay, so we don't have to go in there yet.
The locker room. This is where the prisoners' things are kept.
We'll come back here later in this level. We don't have to worry about it now.
Ah, you've got a pass for the high security area. It's the door at the end. Go ahead.
It is potassium nitrate, isn't it?
Yes. Saltpeter or whatever.
It is about the signing-in book. This information board is almost empty. Strange, in view of the activity in the prison.
My name is Peter James, Chief Warden, and this is Deputy Warden O'Sullivan.
I imagine I will find Hans Schielmann behind these bars in the basement.
Yes, the high security cells are down there.
Is this the only access?
Yes, there was a second door at the end of the main hall, but it's been blocked up as a security measure.
Thank you, Chief Warden.
At your service. If you require further information, Warden Mackenzie will help you. He's at his post in the basement.
Mr. Holmes, I am a huge admirer of yours. I have followed all your cases and successes with the greatest interest.
What enthusiasm! Have you ever thought of a career in the police force?
Have I thought about it? It's my dream. And I'm going to try my chance once this establishment closes down. I'm studying hard for the examination to get into police school.
Tell me about the prisoners, Warden James.
We only have a few. As you might be aware, the days of this place are numbered. Therefore, we no longer receive new prisoners. Those who are already here are among the most dangerous in London. We have 3 at the moment. Hans the Rat Killer and the Flint Brothers.
The Flint Brothers?
Yes, 2 rather simple-minded maniacs who detest one another despite their relation. They massacred their parents and decapitated their neighbours. It took more than 9 policemen to overpower them.
There isn't any information on the notice board. Should there be notes about duties?
Yes, there should be, but Miss Patterson hasn't put up the guard's assignments for this week yet. It's not like her. Usually she does it first thing in the morning. Without these instructions, the guard in the basement won't be changed. I would go and get them, but I don't want the director to catch me there. He's very strict. Doesn't like us wandering around when we're on duty. And it will get his daughter in trouble. He's not being very pleasant with her at the moment, and I don't want to make things worse.
How does not having the information about guard duty stop you from ensuring the watch in the basement?
Because of the system of opening the doors, Mr. Holmes. As you can see, they are equipped with a mechanical timer which answers to a code. When the timer stops, that is to say at the end of each watch, the doors block automatically and the code is reset. It is therefore impossible to open the doors without the new code.
And who has the code?
Only the guard who takes the new watch. He's the only one who can open the envelope that it's kept in. He learns it by heart and destroys the message.
Very clever, but let's look at the limits of this procedure. One false note and the system falls apart.
See you later, Mr. Holmes.
The guards must spend long hours here.
This device must be the alarm. It is the guard's guest book, perhaps for distinguished guests. These weapons are obviously ready to use in case of emergency.
Here's the famous high-security area.
Warden Mackenzie, at your service, sir.
Good morning, Warden. I have a pass which allows me to speak with prisoner Hunts.
Very well. It is the cell at the end to your left. I'd advise you to walk in the middle of the corridor.
Hans Schielman, I require some information from you.
So, who do we have here? The celebrated Sherlock Holmes himself. Do you know that for all the time I have spent rotting in here, you are my first and only visitor? I think this is cause for celebration. A confrontation between two geniuses, two extraordinary minds.
I am afraid that you are not quite as great a chemist as you believe you are, Mr. Schielman. I will not say that you never were. No, it was certainly true once. But you see, while you are whiling away your days in here, it appears that someone on the outside is at the point of surpassing you, if that is not already the case.
Yes, I heard about that. A chemical poison that eats away at the flesh and provokes hysteria. I recognize talent when I see it, but it's only a matter of time before I win back my laurels, believe me.
What can you tell me?
That depends on what you can bring to me.
What do you want?
Do you know why I am treated so harshly? For my meals, I am given nothing but a hunk of bread, and even then, not just any sort.
Get to the point.
Never interrupt me! Where was I? Oh yes, the bread. Did you know that with a little rye yeast, a pinch of moss, certain cockroach secretions, just enough light and damp, with a few other ingredients that I will keep quiet about, I succeeded in poisoning half the staff here. Unfortunately, a little something was omitted, which would have made the results fatal. Instead, it merely caused acute attacks of stress and powerful hallucinations. Even so, I got a great laugh out of watching them cry like babies when they saw their most primitive fears materializing before them.
You are a monster, Mr. Shieldman.
Thank you.
It wasn't a compliment.
But of course it was! You others, you ordinary, narrow-minded people, you are afraid of anything that you cannot comprehend. You call me a monster because what you find impossible to face is just the slightest fraction of my genius. If by monster you mean someone who is nothing like you, then it is a compliment.
What do you need?
Very little. Just something to write with. You see, my brain races like an engine with too many thoughts. I see them crackle and explode into thousands of formulae right in front of me. What a torture not to be able to write them down. What a hell to see them vanish just as quickly as they appear to me. Just bring me something that I can write with.
That's all. That seems an easy enough request to fulfill.
But listen, I don't want a vulgar inkwell and a pigeon's feather. No, I need material fit for my talent. I want my ink pen. Bring it to me, and I will be happy to pass on to you a little of my knowledge of modern chemistry.
Where is it?
It was confiscated upon my arrival here. I suppose it might be in my locker, in the locker room. Leave me now, and don't come back without my ink pen. See you soon, Mr. Holmes.
Hey, brother. Lucky for you that they caught you before I rearranged your dirty little rat's face. You've been lucky, little brother. Otherwise, your goose would have been cooked.
Warden Mackenzie, at your service, sir.
I'm glad to have been of...
Can you tell me where I might find the locker room?
In the corridor that leads to the director's office. That's where the prisoners' civilian stuff is held. But seeing the length of their sentences, they've little chance of ever getting it back.
Can you open the locker room for us? We would like to inspect Shieldman's personal items.
No, Mr. Holmes. I'm not responsible for that. You will find the keys in the secretary's office.
See you later, Mr. Holmes.
Miss, may we borrow the keys to the locker room?
You will need authorization from the director to open that door. If you wait a moment, then I will inform him.
We will wait, thank you.
Anything new, Mr. Holmes? Is your investigation advancing? Mr. Holmes, have you been able to get what you wanted from our lodger?
Not yet. We must first cast light upon a crucial point, and for that we require your help again.
What can I do?
We need to examine Shieldman's civilian clothing.
Very well, but be extremely careful.
What do you mean?
In that madman's compartment, you will find a strange little coded case which refused point blank to open when he was incarcerated. We did try to force it, but without success.
Didn't you ask the experts?
Of course we did. Experts from Scotland Yard came to examine it, but they came to the conclusion that it was better that the case remain shut than tamper with it too much.
I see. They were afraid that some poison or other might escape if it was opened.
Exactly. Bear in mind that this man is an evil genius, a master poisoner, And that his poisons are never ordinary. Here's the key to the locker room. I give you the authorization to open it.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Patterson.
Miss Patterson, the guards are still waiting for you to put up the duty list. Do it as soon as possible. Without it, the changing of the guard cannot take place. Or had you forgotten?
Dry your tears, miss. I'm certain that your father didn't mean to hurt you.
Mr. Watson, I can't put up the duty list. And when he finds out, he'll be furious.
Why can't you?
It's in my locker, in the cloakroom, and I've lost the key.
Your aunt.
Say no more, Holmes. As you keep repeating, time is against us. Let's go and look at the things in the rat killer's locker.
But what could I have done with the keys?
Here is the locker of our friend, Hans, the mad scientist.
Oh, what a jumble.
A paper knife. Blotting paper. This solid box must hold a precious object. Let us see.
And this one's a little easy to solve. So just take this. You take this. You see where there's like little dots around here? You just use a paper knife and then just open that up here. 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 Here.
No, I can't do that.
No,
I can't do that.
Any more?
No, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. No, I can't do that.
Okay, I guess that's it. So,
There's something interesting here.
oh, we need a magnifying glass if there's any more holes. I guess that's it. That's all the ones I got. Oh.
No, I can't do that.
Okay, so it's HCABRS. H C A S B R, and that's it. We just solved that. Yeah, wasn't too bad.
Note, Holmes?
Later, Watson, later. We can give Hans his pen. Closed.
But...
What a bunch of incompetents. Oh, if I was as unprofessional as that, there would be murderers running all over the town.
What's the matter? Are you a patient of Dr. Watson?
Very amusing.
I was going on about the dry cleaners in Westgate Street. They've just delivered my ceremonial uniform in the middle of my duty. when I've told them 1,000 times not to bring it until after 6 in the evening?
A ceremonial uniform? You've been promoted?
No, and that's not about to happen. No, I've been invited to a wedding. I mean, I hope to be. I'm in trouble. If the director sees that I've left my post, I'll be sacked without pay.
Give it to me, Warden Brighton. I'll take care of it for you.
Really? Thanks a lot. Here's the key to the cloakroom and that of my locker. I'm really grateful, Mr. Holmes.
What have you got in mind, Holmes? You're not doing this out of kindness, are you?
No, out of curiosity. We will be able to access the cloakroom with these keys. Bicarbonate of soda. Brighton must have an upset stomach, caused by stress without a doubt. I need something. I need something. The name on the key is Jenny Patterson. That is interesting. Bicarbonate of soda. Let us examine Miss Patterson's locker. The lock on this box is rather sophisticated.
Incredible. Is Jenny hiding?
Yeah, this one's a little bit of a complicated puzzle, but should be able to solve. So I think what you have to do is align the green ones with the green ones and the red ones with the red ones. So just oh yeah, like this. Oh, I thought these were the ones that place the shapes in, not the white ones. Okay, my bad. Sorry. Anyway, that just makes it a little bit complicated. Let's do it this way. Now when we do that, no, not that way. No, not that way. Yeah, like that. Now we do this. This and then that. There we go. Yeah, it's not too bad.
Little Jenny is astonishing.
Jenny Patterson, Frank Brighton. Single heart with two souls and eternal love.
A locket, sealing the relation between Jenny and Warden Brighton. Decidedly, this boy is not a great poet. Here is the famous guard duty list. Interesting.
My Jenny, let's get married. Never mind the consequences. Your father will have to accept the fact that we are in love. Think about the baby and don't forget that. Jesus, why don't these people use a freaking condom? I mean, condoms existed back then, just not the... I don't think they weren't the lubricant kind like it is today, but... Wear a fucking condom. Be sure to wear condoms or else your lady your lovers will become pregnant and you'll have to regret it because of, financial problems and other problems, of course. I love you, I love you, blah, 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 blah. I bring you a poem. Jenny Patterson, your heart pounds, mine weighs a ton. Our love has no bounds, it just goes on and on. I was inspired by the great Chinese poets to write it. Be courageous, my honey bun, your Frankie. Hey, let me try some. Jenny Patterson, your heart pounds, mine weighs a ton. Our love has no bounds. Okay, that's not how. So what, like a haiku, right? It's not how you draw. Is haikus a Chinese or Japanese thing? I forget. But yeah, it's shit poem, dude. Okay, your friend.
A letter from Brighton to Jenny. Barely literate.
Apparently, Jenny is carrying Brighton's child, and it seems that Jenny's father, the director, is unaware of this.
We have found the guard duty cards, miss. If you like, I can go and discreetly give them to the guards.
Oh, thank you. You've got me out of a lot of trouble, Mr. Holmes.
Sorry, sir.
Sorry, Mr. Holmes, you can't go into the basement for the moment.
For what reason?
The door has locked itself automatically. We must enter a new security code.
Do it, then.
Miss Patterson hasn't put up the guard duty list yet. Without that information, we don't know who's authorised to take note of the new code.
So Mackenzie is locked in the high security zone.
Yes, but don't worry about him. He's trained for this sort of dysfunction.
Why not ask the director to take note of the code and open the door?
He isn't allowed to, and I doubt that he would run the risk of going against the orders of the administration centre. Anyway, the bars in the high security section are joined to the alarm system, which is in that room. We only need to sound it to unblock, but you see we can't do that now.
We'll try to find the duty list, Warden James.
We have found Chief Warden James's duty list.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Let's see. O'Sullivan, it's you who takes over from Mackenzie. Take note of the code, please, and unblock the door.
At once, Chief. Ah, Mr. Holmes, could I ask you for a favour?
Please do.
I think I can say on behalf of all the staff that we would be honoured if you would care to write something in our guest book.
With pleasure, O'Sullivan. You seem worn out, O'Sullivan. A good night's sleep would do you good.
A good night's sleep would do me good. You're right, Mr. Holmes.
Is something worrying you?
As you know, Westgate Prison will soon be demolished, and I'm spending most of my nights studying for my exam to join the police. You understand, I have to think about my future, so sleep isn't a priority at the moment.
Scotland Yard is always looking for young, competent and motivated men. Would a letter of recommendation from me allow you to get some sleep?
What? A letter from Mr. Sherlock Holmes recommending me for Scotland Yard? Are you quite serious?
Completely serious, my young friend. May I use this writing paper? The one on your desk.
1,000 thanks, Mr. Holmes. 1,000 thanks.
It is addressed to Inspector Baines, a good friend of mine. There's no need to remind you that it must be opened only by the person to whom it is addressed.
Yes, of course. I'll give it to him personally. Thank you again, Mr. Holmes. At your service, Mr. Holmes.
See you soon, Mr. Holmes.
Warden Mackenzie.
Well,
You have what you wanted, your precious pen.
you seem annoyed, Mr. Holmes. I would even go so far as to say terribly worried.
Why should you care, Mr. Shielman? Let's talk about that poison.
I am not talking about you in the grip of natural emotions found in ordinary people who are confronted by the inexplicable. But as for Mr. Holmes, you are embarrassed, aren't you? Are you hiding something?
That is enough, Shielman.
You have kept your word. Therefore, I will keep mine. At this moment, the poison which so interests you isn't finished yet. Its maker is encountering great difficulties in attaining the desired results.
What is the end result?
Now, Mr. Holmes, the end result of any science, as Descartes once said, to become the master and owner of nature. Here we are talking about human nature, of course. And the creator's problem isn't so much the mixture as the durability of his creation.
What do you mean?
You see, this poison was made using rare but very volatile short-living compounds, which means that it is only possible to produce small quantities, which most importantly do not keep for a long time. Conceiving such a product in a laboratory especially built for the purpose could be achieved by any good chemist. But recopying this alchemy on another scale and keeping it ready at any moment, observing the particular conservation and storing conditions that a substance of this type requires, well, that would need a genius. I doubt if the creator of this mixture would be capable.
And you would be, of course.
Of course.
Luckily, you are going to spend the rest of your life in prison.
Luck is cyclical. It always comes around again, sooner or later. As far as I am concerned, I have the feeling that the cycle is going to be very short.
Holmes, it sounds to me as though this Shielman is implying that an escape attempt will be made.
Yes, we must go and warn the director.
Ah, okay. Yeah, this looks much better. Or at least there's a little bit more detail, especially with the shadows. Okay. It doesn't really deteriorate the game's quality if it uses the default settings, but it's nice to get some good quality graphics. Alright, let's head up there.
It is out of the question that your bastard is named Patterson. Very well. You refuse to reveal the father to me? Well, then go and join him. I'm not stopping you.
I can't.
Director, you will have to postpone this small family reunion. We believe that a serious scheme is afoot. We must act without delay.
You're not thinking of...
Yes, Shielman's words leave no room for doubt. It seems that he is planning an escape attempt. We strongly advise you to search his cell.
Do you really believe that he's hiding something? Because I must make an official report and have a legitimate reason for doing a search.
Director, if this prison is still in operation, it is solely because of its reputation. Think of the consequences of an escape. It would be closed at once. And what post do you imagine would be offered to the person deemed responsible?
You're right. No one will escape from Westgate under Patterson. I will order an immediate search of Mr. Shielman's cell.
Chief Warden James reporting. The search of prisoner Hans Shielman's cell has been carried out. No suspicious items were found.
Thank you, Chief James. I feel better now. Without wishing to offend you, Mr. Holmes, I am glad that you were mistaken.
If I'm not mistaken, we've nothing more to do here. Shall we go, Holmes?
There's just one more thing for me to see, Watson.
What's that?
Mr. Holmes, sorry to interrupt you, but Miss Jenny wishes to see you alone. She's waiting for you in her office.
This, Watson.
How did you know?
Wait for me in the guards room. I won't be long.
What an extraordinary gentleman that Sherlock Holmes is. You must have had lots of adventures with him.
Oh, yes, dozens.
Thought he was infallible, but there wasn't anything out of the way in the rat killer's cell. Could he have been mistaken?
I must admit...
Warden Brighton, in my office immediately. That's an order.
The director seems furious.
Yes, it must be important for him to order Brighton to leave his post.
I wouldn't want to be in his shoes.
Did you hear that?
Yes, that's not normal. I've never heard Flint shout like that.
But why doesn't O'Sullivan sound the alarm?
Follow me, Mackenzie. Let's go and have a look.
I'll come with you.
No, Dr. Watson, you're not allowed in. Wait for me here.
Very well.
Hey, but... the grill is blocked, Chief.
We've been locked in. And that smoke, it's coming from below. O'Sullivan! Can you hear us?
Sully, are you alive? Answer us, Sully.
What's going on? Can I help you?
Sound the alarm in the guards room. That should unblock the door. Be quick. O'Sullivan might be in danger.
It doesn't work. Locked.
Hey, what are you waiting for to sound the alarm, Doctor?
It's impossible. It's been damaged. I'll run and warn the director.
No, Doctor. Our priority is to save O'Sullivan. Go ahead through the visitors' corridor and see if he answers your call.
Very well.
Take the keys. They're in our room.
Locked. O'Sullivan, can you hear me? O'Sullivan, answer me.
Yes, I'm here. Quick, get me out of here. The Flints have escaped, and they are fighting like dogs. Help!
It's a catastrophe.
Whoop. Okay, that's obviously not O'Sullivan, dude. Watson. Nope. God damn it, Watson. Whoop, why am I walking backwards? Okay, walked over there and then come back here. I guess that's a little bit of a glitch.
Finally, there you are, Holmes.
Follow me, Watson. We must repair the... I'm going to turn on the system. Watson, you make sure of the contact.
I hope that this isn't dangerous.
Alright, so we lead this down this pathway, so just simple as that. There we go. Pretty easy.
It's open. Let's go down.
Be careful. From what your colleague said, the Flints are out.
We are trained for this sort of situation. And we're armed.
Come and help us, Watson.
Everything is back to normal. Thank you for your help, gentlemen.
It was a pleasure.
But where is O'Sullivan?
He's no longer here. He must have gone out through the visitor's entrance.
Yes, and he must be pleased to have gotten out of the basement.
Good. We must now check all the cells. It's the procedure in case of an alarm.
We'll come and help you.
You are evidently fond of wasting time, my dear fellow. Rejoin me at the reception when you've finished.
The grate is open. This is alarming.
This says alarm.
Ew.
How can he sleep with all this noise?
I'll admit it's not normal. Perhaps the smoke has poisoned him. I had better take a look.
Be careful, Doctor. He is dangerous.
O'Sullivan?
It's impossible. He was with us only a few moments ago. Or else...
Nice going, Watson, you fucking idiot.
The rat killer has escaped!
Ah, Holmes, there you are. Hans has escaped. I fear that this inquiry is a bitter defeat for us.
Not at all, my dear fellow. Quite the contrary. Follow me.
Why the devil have you brought me behind the prison?
We have an appointment, Watson. Look who is waiting for us.
Shielman! I'll go back and alert the guards.
Calm down. He's harmless.
But what is he doing here? Why hasn't he run away?
Because I asked him not to.
Are you telling me that you helped him to escape?
Quite so, as he wouldn't have been able to do so alone.
But how? And why? He's a dangerous madman. Holmes, you've made me an accomplice in this escape. You owe me some explanation.
And you will have them, but my priority for the moment is to remove our new friend to a safe place. I won't be long, but I must go alone. I'll rejoin you later. Just give me your next destination.
Very well. I suppose you know what you're doing.
How could you doubt it? Here, take the notes. They will help you when you write up the account of our visit to Westgate. So, where do I find you?
Oh, fuck. Where's the next place? I go to Whitechapel. Yeah, Whitechapel.
Our investigation should take place in the Whitechapel area.
Good. Go then, and I'll rejoin you there.
Holmes notes regarding the way that he helps Hans Shielman to escape from prison are so extraordinary that I feel it would be better to transcribe word for word conversation that we had afterwards regarding this matter. I felt the impatience my friends look. However, he delayed relaying to me the details of this incredible achievement. He began by telling me about Hans Shielman's fountain pen. This is what he said. The key to the escape was actually Hans Shielman's fountain pen. I discovered a note inside Shielman's locker. I can quote it to you from memory. Whoever is smart enough to open this case should know that a couple of drops of my masterpiece are mixed together with the ink inside the pen's reservoir. If you are reading this note, it means that I am in a tight spot, so understand that my special ink will temporarily destroy the will of anyone it touches. Therefore, you have a few precious seconds during which you can shape the subject's will. If you recognize my genius, use this knowledge to get out of the embarrassing situation I am undoubtedly in. Shieldman had left this instrument for his future escape inside a case secured by a devious combination. That way, he would ensure that none of the prison staff would find it, other than a well-informed friend. Understand this. I decided to play along with him, but with a double game of my own. I would help him to escape, but I would also keep him under control by using his own creation on him. I allowed Shieldman to commence the game by giving him his pen, and then I started to advance my pawns. Our first move was to persuade the director that it was necessary to search the cell. Therefore, pass the ball into Shieldman's court by giving him the opportunity with Warden James. He did not waste it. He coated the bars of his cell with the poison ink, and Warden James, whose hands were contaminated, was under his control for a few seconds. He discreetly and quite simply ordered James to give him the keys. The ball was then back in my court. Now I had to find a way of neutralizing Warden O'Sullivan, who was to be the basement guard, as we discovered when we found Miss Patterson's duty sheet. I must admit that the young warden helped me enormously by asking me to sign the prison's visitor's book. Absorbed in the tale, I went over the chronology of the events in my mind. I remarked that Holmes had already signed the visitor's book before giving Shieldman his pen. He replied in the most annoyed tone. Exactly. I anticipated it. And it was because of that I managed to get a step ahead in my game with Shieldman. I was leading the race, and all the while he believed it to be the other way around. Shieldman did not suspect that I had already used his poison, and thought O'Sullivan's being asleep was a godsend, therefore was not suspicious about the letter of reference that he found inside the warden's pocket. Holmes then returned to the point at which he had broken from his tale, to point out to me the lack of pertinence to my remark. But do not put the cart before the horse, Watson. Do let me continue. So by merely touching the fresh ink upon the page in the visitor's book, O'Sullivan was under my control. I suggested a state of advanced drowsiness, but ordered him not to do anything immediately, just sufficient for him to be unable to resist a siesta during his guard duty. Later, after the changing of the guard, Shieldman used the keys to let himself out of his cell. He hit the sleeping O'Sullivan over the head and exchanged his prison uniform for the warden's. Then he created a smoke screen by using the ingredients that I had given him: sugar from Miss Patterson's tea tray, Brennan's bicarbonate of soda, potassium nitrate from the guard's room, and sulfur from a few matches. He used the keys again to free the Flint Brothers. The two ruffians leaped at each other's throats and made the very dickens of a noise. Yet the diversion he needed to leave the high security area, and that's the moment where you entered the game, Watson. Thinking that you were helping O'Sullivan, you allowed Hans Shieldman to open the side. I opened the second lock by turning the alarm on again. In light of Holmes' exclamation, I began to see my actions during this episode from quite another angle. I was troubled by the way that he had used me without my having any idea at the time of the duplicity of my action. I interrupted his monologue to refer to the guards who had not realized what was happening and who were occupied with restraining the Flint brothers. Holmes continued. Exactly. So there was now only one obstacle in front of Shieldman, Warden Brighton on the reception desk at the front of the building. I interrupted him again, but it was the director who summoned him so instantly, Holmes. You won't have it believed that he was an accomplice in this escape. Of course not. I provoked the director's rage towards Brighton. Too impatient, I could not stop myself from asking how. I discovered that Jenny Patterson and Brighton were lovers. I also knew that the director did not have any idea about their affair, and that he would surely fall into a foul rage if he found out. I asked him if that was also the reason why Miss Patterson had been summoned. Yes, she knew that I had opened her locket to find the guard duty list. And so she knew that I was aware of her affair with Brighton. She wanted to make sure that I would not say anything. I pointed out that it had been rather unfeeling on his part to have told the director everything, reminding him of his promise to the young woman. He denied it in a somewhat hypocritical manner. I did not say anything. I simply left the lover's letters inside the urgent correspondent box in the secretary's office, knowing that they would be delivered to him a few minutes later, thereby provoking his anger. The director shouted at Brighton and rushed off to the security's office. Schumann now had nothing to stand between him and the front door. Another question leapt into my mind, and not the least important one. Why does he not simply run away and want to see what was outside? Why did he wait? I was not disappointed by my friend's answer. It was evident, my dear Watson. If he did not run away, then it was only thanks to that aforementioned step ahead of which I told you. It gave me enough time to write the letter of recommendation for Sullivan with the poisoned pen. It was in the pocket of the uniform, and Schumann could not resist reading it when he found it. But what was written in that letter? Not very much. Just congratulations on your escape. Wait for me here. I gapped at him, and that is how the first and only escape from the most inviolable prison in the kingdom came to pass. A scenario which, without doubt, will prove to be the focus of police college studies for a long time to come as one of the most extraordinary escapes in the history of modern prison. Alright, so now we're heading to Whitechapel.
Here we are in the heart of Whitechapel. Keep an eye on your wallet, Holmes. This area is the highest for pickpockets in all of the kingdom.
Don't worry about my wallet, Watson. It would be easier to move Big Ben than to steal from me.
Or to borrow a shilling from you.
Amusing, Watson. Really very amusing. Can we move on to more serious matters?
I'm listening, Holmes.
Alright, we will end the video here. Alright, thank you guys for watching. We'll come back for more Testament of Sherlock Holmes, and I will see you guys later.